Thanks for the people saying hello. Special shout out to Devin Shea's kindergarten teacher, Cindy Buckley, and your granddaughter. Hope you enjoy the show. We got an hour of sports to talk to you. And I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner with me and Smoking Jim Frazier. We appreciate all of this, and it'll be 6 years, October 11th, that we've been on air. So appreciate all the likes and watching, and hit a brand new high of 6,540 likes. Can't beat that for a small TV show. I saw some other TV shows and Facebook pages that got 3,000, 3,500 likes. So,
Weak.
yeah, can't believe we hit the 6,540. So thanks to all of you. We have a sponsor for What's on Your Mind, Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station in Finleyville. He's the guy. Let me see here. Smoking Jim. I don't know if you remember that. Postal worker. Call Skeets at 724-348-4715. He sponsors our show and works on anything that runs on gas. You have a gas weed whacker, he'll work on it. You have a gas motor on a boat, he'll work on it. You have a gas truck, he'll work on it. You have a gas car, he works on it. You got the drift, he works on everything that runs on gas. And then thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. Great pizza. Smoking Jim's chewing on it right now. You can hear him through his mic. Joey Fabus, 9-year-old boy, died before his 9th birthday. Died of DIPG. Very sad. Check out the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Donate what you can. Time, money, etc. They do different events around the area. Check it out. Then the Bethel Park Historical Society. You know that Schoolhouse Arts and History Center has the trolley right in front of it. Check them out. Just got 107 brand new windows. They rent the place out. They do different activities there. Check them out. Donate money at the BethelParkHistoricalSociety.com. Check that out. Now, if you have a group here in Bethel Park that needs some money for the things that you may be doing to help promote the community, go to bpcf.org. That's the Community Foundation. Check it out. Get an application. You can get from $100 to $5,000. Check them out. And as I like to say, Dave Cable likes to have fun. But before I show you the graphic he come up with me, happy birthday, Dave Cable, today.
Oh, happy birthday.
I won't mention your age, but I know you're over 40. So happy birthday, Dave, if you watch the show. He was making fun of me, put Al Levine, the talking machine, as Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. 412-831-3304. Yes, Dave Cable is his name. Yes, he will answer the phone. If not, leave a message. Say you're interested. Last week we had one of the guys who likes our show, Johnny Mariano. He come in the studio, was working the soundboard, and I listened to the show, and it sounded pretty good. So thanks, Johnny. We appreciate that. But this is I Want You for BPTV. Now we got to go to What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
it's coming
you
at you.
got to see Levine. Hey, first of all, I want to make an announcement.
Hold it. Let's clear the station. Smoking Jim will now make an announcement.
Well,
thank you. Go ahead.
First, I'm proud to say that I didn't know. This is not what I'm proud of, but I'm proud to say that I know now. But I never knew that Columbus was Italian, so I know that now.
I have a question to ask you. Did you go to grade school anywhere?
Yeah.
They taught that there.
That he was Italian?
Yeah. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria were his 3 ships. that come to America. What does that sound like?
I don't know.
My man, it's been so long since you've been in high school and grade school, but they talked about it all the time.
This is what they teach you at the University
Did you know
of
it?
Gateway.
Did you know it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm Italian, you silly boy.
Tell them the last name on your mother's side.
But our own. Yes.
Are
My
you
mother
really?
was Italian, yes.
I never knew that. You
He's
never
talked
told me
about
that.
that.
Really?
You know what? You've been concussed so many times that, you
Sure
know,
you
this,
don't have CTE? Let's open up your call and find out.
they got to wait till you
This is going
die.
to be the first.
Well,
this is
they're
gonna be
coming- they're
first
coming up-
diagnosis on somebody that's alive.
They're coming up with some protein now, and they'll be able to they'll be able to do studies.
They can fix it all.
Yeah,
now.
they can do studies now. On,
Well, you know what? I'm recommending you go in for the first study.
Yeah, I didn't
Because
know.
we've talked about this. Now, what's your point? You just found out
But-
Columbus Day's next week,
But
and you're announcing the Italians are
Well-
fighting?
well, Columbus Day is now the happiest day of my life. This next Columbus Day because I'll be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria with you, brother. Yes.
When?
I was
Next
sad.
Monday?
I'll be there Monday. I already.
What
already
happened to the
put going.
fights?
They lost a couple sponsors, and they won't have can't do the TV now.
Well, just
So.
I hate to give the other side to the point of Columbus Day, but there's a lot of people that protest Columbus Day because they don't think that's right.
How come? Because the world was flat.
No, the new guys like your guys that you watch in social media say about the flat Earth, but they actually knew before that it's not a flat Earth. It's round. If you've been on the ocean, you can see the curvature out there.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times on some cruises.
Okay.
And folks, sorry we're a little diverted here from our normal sports talk, but Smokin' Jim forgot, and now he discovered Columbus Day.
That's it. That's it.
It'll
I'll
be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We'll
my
discuss
main
that
man.
later
Yeah.
on location. We've got a big show planned for that day. I'm just getting guests left and right without Smokin' Jim. I kept telling people he's not going to be there.
So they're showing up.
They're coming in.
But anyway,
What's truly on your mind? Sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station.
what's on my mind again is one play game to it. This guy's so invisible during a football game. But what's on my mind is Pittsburgh Sportsline Team of the Week has to go to Amani Christian Academy, who had 5 players suspended, only had 18 players, went into Clareton, who hadn't lost a WPIL game in 5 years, and upset them 18-6. And the Pittsburgh Sportsline Players of the Week, co-players of the week, Good Karma's actually 2 players has been guests on the show. One, R.J. Hart, who's the WPIL Player of the Week.
Hold it. Wait. You're talking about a player who I respect very much and his father.
Yeah.
You washed your hands of them and called them backstabbers.
No, I didn't. I never washed my hands of them, although they are back. I said
You
that.
did say they're backstabbers, and even though the dad was on one of the greatest teams,
What I said
they would
was,
never.
What I said was, as long as
Let's clarify
as long
this.
as I'm on the City League Hall of Fame committee, the 1989 Perry State Championship football team, which is the only football team to ever win a state championship from the city, will never get in the Hall of Fame. And this year's proof and pudding. And the 1990 Perry State Championship basketball team, both teams that Dr. Hart participated in, and that had Will the Thrill Macon on it, that had Hightower on it, that had Eddie Bitton, who's a head coach in college football, college basketball, played on that team, one of the all-time great teams, will never get in the Hall of Fame as long as
I just
I'm on
wanted
the
to clarify
committee.
that you're talking about
Big Cat
Amani
Williams,
Christian.
that played at Chicago Bears, will never be in the Hall of Fame, and many others because, like I said,
They mistreated Gateway players.
R.J. Hart, Dr. Hart, he bypassed Gateway, didn't even talk to me about it before he moved into Armani, so that's the price they have to pay. It's no secret. No secret.
I just wanted to get that out again because that really bothers me.
Yeah. So, co-players of the week, is
RJ.
R.J. Hart, who's also the WPIL Player of the Week. He had 100 yards, over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. And the backup quarterback, who I'm predicting next year will throw 54 touchdowns because the quarterback was suspended. One of the 5 players suspended, the starting tailback, starting center, and the starting quarterback. But Izzy Reed, Izzy got busy, scored 3 touchdowns, threw for 2 and ran for 1, scored all the points. And then after that, he went on a recruiting visit to Michigan State. And the following Monday, which was yesterday, Akron University gave him a call. So they're very interested in Izzy. Good karma. So that's what's on my mind. Congratulations, Imani, and congratulations to Perry. You have a lot of teams that will never get in the City League Hall of Fame.
Smoking Jim just sounds so sincere. Can't wait to have you back on the show Monday. Smoking Jim, you're unbelievable. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. What's on my mind? Well, I think first is I'll talk about my WPIAL Team of the Week. You know it's coming. The Penn Trafford Warriors. Yes, they did. They shut out the Gateway Gators. Knocked them out of the top 5 in the WPIAL.
Smoking Jim's alumni got shut out, and he didn't mention that?
There must have been something in the water.
He missed the game because we were announcing fights that night.
Okay.
That's what happened.
That's just to keep my friend Jim humble, keep it real.
Too late.
But okay, so if you paid any attention to what's going on in the sporting world, big scandal in college basketball. Okay, so and I find this kind of ridiculous because everybody knows that. College athletes have been getting money under the table to go to various schools since the beginning of time, I guess. Okay? So now all of a sudden the FBI ran an investigation and they indicted a number of people and they offered up the sacrificial lamb of a Hall of Fame coach named Rick Pitino. Now, I find this kind of laughable because if anybody thinks that Rick Pitino is the only person that got their hands dirty or they got an envelope full of cash or distributed money to one of their players, I don't think there's a coach in Division 1A, Division 2A, or Division 3A hasn't done exactly the same thing. So why do you make an example of one and not all the rest? I wonder how many more Hall of Fame coaches are in line to be made an example of. I bet none. But that's just my humble opinion. And I think, okay, is this the most important thing that's going on with college athletics and the way that we can make it better? I don't think so. I think it's a waste of taxpayers' money. And it's much ado about nothing because, it's going to continue regardless of whatever kind of investigation.
It's been going on for 50 years. They said John Wooden turned his back on it. Guys are getting $5 to $10 for rebounds.
Well, and here's the thing. Any
$5
head coach of any
then.
college basketball team, any college football team, any professional team, the head coaches are control freaks. And you can't tell me there isn't a single thing that goes on in their program that doesn't go on without their blessing or without them being able to, they could deny knowledge. Well, I had no idea that was going on.
Lou Holtz ran a clean program.
Please. I don't believe any of them are. And to make an example of one, I think is just, it's ridiculous. And, I'm sorry to see that Rick Pitino has had his career ruined.
Well, he
and
still
his
has
reputation.
a sex scandal going on there, too.
Well, what are they going to happen when they say Mike Krzyzewski allowed that to happen at Duke? Or
They're not.
Well,
they're not, obviously.
I mean, look what happened with Roy Williams at North Carolina. They got caught cheating, having straight A students taking tests for their basketball players to keep them eligible.
What do you think Smoking Jim did?
I know Jim was all
He got
for
23 degrees.
I know several
He
universities.
got General Sue.
I know Jim was on a retainer for several major college universities.
He got all those general studies with General Lee and
That's on my mind. And then the next thing that's on my mind, and I will keep this short, the drama queen, number 7 for our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, needs to learn to keep his mouth shut. Quit throwing your teammates under the bus and creating dissension in the locker room. If anybody listened to what he was spouting today, threw Antonio Brown under the bus for some antics on the sidelines during the game. Listen, folks, I don't care what goes on the sidelines during the game. I care about what's going on between the white lines during the game. I don't care what happens in the locker room. I don't care what happens on social media. Show me the game, and that's all I want to see. All this other nonsense doesn't matter, but that's what's on my mind.
hey, that water cooler he knocked at 20 feet in the air. I saw it.
And this is a surprise how.
No surprise.
I mean, okay, so now it's a story now? I don't believe it should be.
Well, Tomlin spoke about it.
Well, he only talked about it because the media goaded him into saying something about it. You know, it's just...
You made your point, Chip. Thanks. What's on my mind? End of Bucco season, 75-87. Had the longest game, one of the longest games of the year on Sunday to close it out. They won the game.
I watched it.
So that's the way to end it. I didn't watch it, but it was just a tough year. I think about it. What if they would have won 7 more games? That's all they needed. 7 more games. 7 games.
You know, if we're going to speak to that a little later on.
That's bugging me. We'll talk Pirates later on.
Yeah, we can
but that's what's on my mind. What's on my mind tonight is Aaron Judge and the Yankees against the Twins tonight at 8 o'clock.
I'm going to tune in.
I want to see if he can blast one 600 feet again.
Did he do that?
They said last night it was close to it.
No. But
hey, that's what happens. That's what's on my mind. And we're going to come back with some fiction and fact. Who knows what it might be from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
I think film and television in general is a very discouraging industry. It takes a lot of years of pounding the pavement, calling people, finding your ends. You're gonna carry a lot of heavy cable, get dirty a lot, and find your way in. With the limited amount of resources out there and the limited amount of opportunities, there's a fantastic resource right here. And it's public access, it's free of charge. Anybody can come in and gain that experience. Dave absolutely loves to help people, you know, never said no to us growing up. Anything we wanted to do, we were able to do here. The first year I was here, I would just sign on for different projects, like Stump the Students was a show that I worked on quite frequently. It was a game show. We would just come up with our own little ideas, mostly sketches, a lot of school projects, a lot of classes when we'd have to do a project on a story we read or something like that. I would always ask if we could do a video as our project instead, and we would typically do it through Dave. You know, one of my favorite things we did was one of the simplest things we did. It was put together in an afternoon. It was something we wanted to do for fun. We were playing around learning Final Cut Pro, learning how to do linear editing, and we decided to do something in reverse. So we filmed me, actually, I think it was, running around the building out here, jumping off walls backwards, running around backwards, and played the whole thing in reverse. It was really simple, it was, you know, corny, we just did it for fun, but for a couple weeks after that, people kept coming up to me at school like, well, how'd you do that? We were more exposed to our student body than we felt we were, not having an association with any extracurriculars of the school. It was fun to see how, even though we were doing it on our own, it was still making its reach to Bethel Park, and it was still something that we were getting feedback for, positive feedback from. And that was really nice. I would say that BPTV is one of the greatest creative resources this community has, and I would absolutely encourage anyone with any interest in production to come here and learn from Dave and take their ideas and turn them into something. If I hadn't been here at BPTV, I wouldn't have advanced at the rate I did in my industry. I wouldn't have had the passion for my industry nurtured the way it was here. I don't think that I would have pursued it because I don't think I would have had as clear a picture of what was available to me in this industry unless I had come here and gotten that first-hand experience prior to having to make the decisions that you have to make whenever you're graduating from high school. Opportunity really only comes to people who establish a lifestyle to seize it. And this is the kind of place where you can seize an opportunity and change what you want your future to be.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip Hayner. Got some pretty good fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Always got to give my main man, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, a pat on the back. Every now and again, humble guy, but I always said that Al Levine, the Talking Machine, is best interviewer since Johnny Carson. Always meant that.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
But also doing the restaurant TV shows we did. I started doing that years ago, but Al Levine, the Talking Machine, took it to another level, not only because he's such an extraordinary interviewer, but I always say the best ability is availability, and nobody's more consistent than him. But anywho, I say that to say this.
I can't wait to hear this.
The guy that actually made me believe that restaurant interviews would work is a living legend. We started doing, Bill Neal and I, Champions Live, I think it was called. We started doing it back in the early 2000s.
I didn't see one of those shows.
Yeah, yeah.
I was supposed to be on one.
It's probably up in the satellite somewhere. But we started off at James Street Inn. And James Street Restaurant, then they went bankrupt and they closed. And so we went over in Station Square to the second year to Crawford Grill. And that place was huge and we were struggling.
And you bankrupted them too.
Yeah, we did, but the place was struggling. I didn't know how to go about getting guests.
What?
We were doing 3-hour shows and sometimes the place was almost empty. And one week I called Springdale High School and I talked to legendary coach Chuck Wagner.
Wow.
And we talked for a long time, and what a great guy. I mean, this is a man that turned Riverview's football program around. And Springdale was one of the losingest football teams in state history before he took over and turned them around. They were consistently at Heinz Field and in the playoffs. So when I talked to him, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, you know, I mean, we were really struggling. And he really taught me how to go about approaching coaches and athletic directors.
How do you do that?
And he told me, he says, he would always end the call with, hang in there tough, you know, hang in there tough. And so I talked to him, he says, well, what do you want to do? And I told him what I wanted to do. Now, this is all white team, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We're bringing him to an all black location. So he says, and of course we wanted the cheerleaders too. He says, well, I tell you what, he says, let me call the football boosters president and I'll get back to you. He says, well, we're going to bring 3 busloads of football players, cheerleaders, and the band.
And the
He
band.
said the football boosters are going to pay for their meal. Al Levine, with counting parents and all our other guests, we had over 300 people in a facility that only held 150 to 175. So there's 100 people out in the hallway. The show was incredible.
Station Square.
Probably the TV ratings went through the roof. I've never seen it on TV, but it went through the roof. But what a class act, and we would have him on there and Springdale on every year, no matter what their record was.
Get out.
And he passed away last week, but what a living legend. This was a guy that kind of reminded me of my high school football coach, although he wasn't hands-on like my high school football coach. He was Italian, hands-on, put us through a couple walls and lockers over
He
the
didn't
years.
teach you about Columbus?
No, he didn't. He didn't teach us about Columbus. But this was, what a gentleman, what a great football coach, what a great football mind, and rest in peace for a job well done. Because I tell you what, he turned a lot of lives around on the football field, and me as a person that's now a believer that restaurant shows can work.
And he made you into the interviewer that you are, with smoking First and 10 with Smoking Jim. He does shows with Jody and others. Hundreds of interviews. He does 1,000 interviews when he's away from me. We just got to reel him in the Pittsburgh Sports Line. Thanks for your compliments.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll end that with hang tough.
Yeah, that's right. Hang in there tough.
Hang in there tough.
That's it.
And Columbus Day's Monday.
Italian stallion.
All right. Smoking Jim, I don't know how you do it, but thank you for your fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
All righty, everybody. Thank you for paying attention to my trivia segment. And Alan Levine mentioned a baseball game that's being played tonight. And, of course, Jim doesn't think that a wild card counts as being a postseason team, but that only applies to baseball, not football. So let's just make sure that I just wanted to make sure that the bias was made.
Or even basketball.
But here, let's the thing of note that I think is worth mentioning about tonight's game. The Minnesota Twins are playing the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium tonight. Last season, the Minnesota Twins lost 103 games. They are the very first team in Major League Baseball history to make the playoffs after losing 103 games the season before.
Wow.
So I'd like to give a shout out to the Minnesota Twins, who I say are going to knock the Yankees off tonight.
Wow.
Kirby Puckett.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kirby's a little bit. But speaking about this season, Major League Baseball season, yes, it was a disappointing season for Pirate fans. But, for as much of a disaster as the season seemed to be, ended up at 75 and 87.
7 games.
Still 6 games under 500.
7 wins. Would have made a difference.
But, the Pirates still
7.
performed well this year. But here's some interesting statistics regarding what happened across Major League Baseball this year. This was a season of record high home runs and strikeouts, along with record low complete games. And Houston's Jose Altuve won the American League batting title. And, of course, somebody from the Colorado Rockies won the National League batting title. There were 6,105 home runs hit this season that ended Sunday, topping the old mark of 5,963 set in the year 2000 at the height of the steroid era.
Wow.
Miami's Giancarlo Stanton hit 59, the most in the majors since Barry Bonds set the record with 73, and Sammy Sosa hit 74. Now this was after the drug testing began. See, this is the most home runs anybody has ever hit since they began drug testing. Isn't that ironic? Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees led the American League with 52 home runs, breaking the rookie record of another steroid boy, Mark McGwire, who hit 49 home runs in his rookie season with the Oakland A's in 1987. There were 117 players with 20 or more home runs and 41 with at least 30. Now, last year, 111 players hit more than 20 home runs, and 38 hit more than 30. So the numbers went up this year. What's the cause of this? Were the balls juiced? Were the players juiced? I don't know.
Maybe both were.
Along with the round trippers came quick returns to the dugout. Strikeouts set a record for the 10th consecutive season at 40,105, topping last year's record of 38,982. 4 pitchers tied for the major league lead with 18 wins, the fewest to top the majors in a non-strike shortened season. So quite an amazing year for Major League Baseball, and I just thought that those were some statistics of note because apparently it's not an embarrassment to strike out 4 or 5 times in a baseball game. There used to be a time in the game of baseball you struck out that many times in a game, you earned yourself a seat on the bench next to the coach.
Can I ask you one quick question
Sure
before you
you,
move
sure
on?
you
Chip?
may.
Do you agree with many people that the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a ball, hit the baseball?
What I will speak in the words of Ted Williams, who I will be talking about here in a second. But Ted Williams said he felt that the single hardest feat to accomplish in professional sports was trying to hit a round baseball with a round bat. And I do believe that it is difficult because, to bring up to note, the last time a batter hit 400 in a season was way back in 1941. And that'll just take me into my next spot right here.
But you guys say that that's the hardest thing, but I sure see a lot of people doing it.
How many? There were probably less. There were probably less than 15 players that batted over 300 this year. So that means, for every 10 times they're at bat, they fail 7 times, and they're successful 3 out of 10.
So you're saying it's hard to hit a on base baseball because they sure hit a lot of fouls down the line.
All those are strikes. Those don't count as anything but a strike. Okay, so September 28th. You want to go back in time for our baseball history? 1919, September 28th, the shortest 9-inning game in Major League history. 51 minutes. The New York Giants beat the Philadelphia Phillies.
Wow.
1920, September 28th. This was a dark day for baseball. And this is where the precedent was set for a certain player whom you think belongs in the Hall of Fame, but the majority of people don't. A grand jury indicted 8 members of the Chicago White Sox on charges of fixing the 1919 World Series in the Black Sox scandal. And at that point, Shoeless Joe Jackson was banned from baseball for life. And has been banned from baseball, and it's going on close to 100 years.
He didn't do it.
Still banned. 1941 was probably one of the greatest years in baseball history, and that was the year of Joe DiMaggio's batting streak, 56 games, record that will never be broken. Ted Williams went 6 for 8 in a doubleheader against the Philadelphia A's on the last day of the season to finish the season with a .406 average. No player has batted 400 since. And the footnote to that, Ted Williams did not win the MVP award that season.
Wow.
That award went to Joltin' Joe DiMaggio.
Italian.
That must be it.
Happy Columbus Day.
So going back to Ted Williams, September 28th seemed to be a pretty significant day in his career. Because September 28th, in the year that I was born, 1960, Ted Williams homered in his final Major League plate appearance against Baltimore's Jack Fisher. Williams did not take a curtain call, but he trotted out to left field in the 9th and was replaced immediately by Carroll Hardy and retired to a standing ovation. It was Williams' 521st career home run. Wow. September 28th, 1974, Nolan Ryan pitched his 3rd of 7 career no-hitters. Wow. So, and he leads the major leagues. You know, he broke Sandy Koufax's record of 4 no-hitters, and everybody argues that Sandy Koufax was the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time. That's an argument that will go on forever. And September 28th, 1995, Greg Harris of the Montreal Expos became the first pitcher in Major League history to pitch with both hands in 1 inning. He faced 4 batters. 2 he threw from the right side, threw with his right hand, and 2 he pitched to with his left hand. Ambidextrous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, now here's another record of significance. San Diego's Tony Gwynn tied Honus Wagner's record by winning his 8th National League batting title.
Wow.
Gwynn finished at .372, becoming the first player to win 4 consecutive National League batting titles since Rogers Hornsby from 1920 to 1925.
San Diego, right?
Tony Gwynn, yes, sir. Also, on September the 28th, 2012, This was the second no-hitter that I witnessed in my lifetime at PNC Park. Homer Bailey of the Cincinnati Reds threw the season's 7th no-hitter, beating the Pirates 1-0. The 7 no-hitters matched the modern record since 1900 for one season, tying 1990 and 1991.
Must be a pitcher's park.
Something must have been good, but nobody was hitting the ball that night. September 29th, 1913, Walter Johnson, the Big Train,
Yeah.
finished the season with 36 victories and by winning 1-0 over the Philadelphia A's.
That'll never be broken.
Oh, I guarantee you. Their pitchers don't even start 36 games in baseball these days.
You got him to jump on your bandwagon.
Oh, see?
He's easy.
Joe DiMaggio's will be broken, but that won't.
Okay, by whom? Okay.
Wake up.
Next,
NFL scout.
another one.
Happy Columbus Day.
Probably the greatest player to come out of Donora, Stan the Man Musial.
Yes, sir.
On September the 29th, 1963, ended his career by going 2 for 3 as the Cardinals defeated the Cincinnati Reds in 14 innings at Busch Stadium. And Stan Musial was the epitome of consistency because in his major league career, he had 3,630 hits. 1,815 from the right side, 1,815 from the left side.
Yes.
We remember you telling
Yes,
us
sir.
that.
And I will continue to repeat that
I
because
love it.
I find that a remarkable
Me too.
accomplishment.
If it's
Me
true.
three.
If it's
Just a
true.
couple more here, and then we will get on our way. Grover Cleveland Alexander pitched a 2-0 3-hitter against the Boston Braves on October the 2nd, 1916, for his 33rd victory of the season. And in that season, he had 16 shutouts.
Whoa.
Whoa, because there's guys that don't have 16 shutouts
career.
in a career.
I heard of
He did
Grover,
it in one
Cleveland,
season.
Washington, but not.
There was-
Okay, and in 1920,
Oh,
October the 2nd, the only triple-header played in the 20th century. The Reds defeated the Pirates in the first 2 games. The Pirates won the nightcap, which was called after 6 innings because of darkness. Because they didn't have lighted fields way back then.
Wow.
What year was that again?
That was in 1920.
Wow.
So there you go, people. That's my regular season wrap-up of baseball trivia. I'll be able to dig up some good postseason baseball trivia for next week, so stay tuned.
Thanks, Chip.
Good
We
job,
appreciate
Chip.
it. Yes, Smoking Jim is very consistent. Well, on Columbus Day, which just found out, my buddy, my brother from another mother, Smoking Jim, just found out about Christopher Columbus being Italian. Think about that. Went to Gateway, grade school, high school, Cal U,
The University of Gateway.
graduated with honors, graduated with all these degrees.
He has more degrees than a thermometer.
I counted like 56 degrees he got. Almost a high for today. It was
Almost
like 79. It was 79 degrees today.
Almost as good as Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak.
Yeah, he was close. But we'll have a show. We have some guests that confirmed for it. Dan Bogan, Andy Anderson. I got a guy from Cal U, assistant baseball coach Joe. So just for Smoking Jim Frazier to talk some Cal U stuff. So we'll do that. I got 3 other invites for other guests. We'll see what happens if they can make it. But we have a great show at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. At 7:30 to 8:30 we will be filming. So check out our show right at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and more in Brookline. Frank will be there, the owner, loves us, loves the show. And he has $5 pizzas and hoagies all day long. So get up there, get your Olive Oil's pizza and hoagie. Come out and hear some Pittsburgh Sportsline TV talk and show. You see interviews with guests, and you get to see what Smoking Jim listens to with Al Levine, the talking machine. So come on out there, and we're booking shows for November. We got Jamie Chesney coming in. So she's happy to be coming in on November. So we'll see her then, and some other people we got scheduled for that. Tom Yankello and Keontae Irving may be there November 13th. Wow. They just have to confirm that they'll make it. They said they'd love to. Tom said he heard his niece singing the national anthem on Pittsburgh Sportsline at Hollywood Lanes.
Yes,
he said she killed it that day.
Yes, sir.
So, and she did. Great performer. And that's what we have for On Location. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for all the likes on our shows. And we'll be back there Columbus Day, October 9th. See us there.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
Hi, Bethel Park. Uncle Al speaking. I'm asking you to come help us behind the scenes at BP TV. We're looking for some proud Bethel Park residents to help us make the shows that you want to watch. For more information, contact Station Director Dave Cable, and we will see you behind the cameras at BP TV. Let's talk some Steelers. I predicted the Steelers would win, and they won. 26-9. I had no doubt watching the game that they'd win the game, just how they played. I knew that the offensive line could open up a few holes for Le'Veon Bell. He had a better day. He hit the hole running a couple times, made some nice little speed runs there, and Big Ben's throwing the ball, making some completions. We got guys dropping balls. And then
to be honest with you, though, I think the one member of the offense that is underperforming more than anybody is the drama queen himself.
Well, Big Ben has been off all year.
That's what I'm saying.
He's been overthrowing guys.
So why is he criticizing the best wide receiver in the National Football League?
Well, because they made him get married. He got 3 kids. He can't do anything else. They won't let him leave his house. All he can do is watch his other teammates.
Well, here's
That's what the Roonies made him into.
Here's what my take is.
That's
on
my thought on it.
The first quarter of the Pittsburgh Steelers season. Now, right now, I think what is more responsible for the Steelers' success to this point in the season is the play of their defense, believe it or not. Now, if you look at how do you judge a quality defense? You know, do you judge it by how many yards they give up or how few points they give up? And I think how many points that you give up.
I'm about points.
So this weekend, the Pittsburgh Steelers will play the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are leading the league with the fewest points surrendered by only giving up 54 points. The Pittsburgh Steelers have only allowed 59 points scored against them in the first 4 games.
I didn't know that.
I think that's telling. I think the Steelers' defense has improved considerably over last year. And it does not appear that the secondary is as much of a detriment as everybody thought it was. So, I want to see what your thoughts are about that.
Well,
He didn't know.
Well,
He
one-
still found out about Columbus Day.
well, one before the season, of course, I picked to go to the Super Bowl, Kansas City and Seattle. So I'm looking pretty good so far. Can't wait for Kansas City to get a hold of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think the first 4 games, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is a product of playing very poor teams. Cleveland's worst team in the league. You got Minnesota that minutes before the game, their quarterback backed out.
Not
The
minutes
backup-
before.
well, Friday, but he in the walkthrough, that's when he decided he wasn't going to play. In the
Nah, they
walkthrough.
decided earlier.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to play. He's injured bad, buddy.
And then Chicago completed one pass to a wide receiver against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they don't throw to the wide receivers. They ended up benching their quarterback. They're going with a rookie now. And this past
Trubisky.
week, it looked like the Ravens were still trying to find themselves. So, first 4 games, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the schedule is favorable for the Steelers to really do some damage. Like you said, Chip, they should be 4-0 right now.
Well, and and here's the thing, I get what you're saying, and yes, they didn't play any offensive juggernauts.
Nobody.
Okay, but still, they played NFL football teams, and on any given Sunday, we can see what can happen because even the Bears beat us.
Yeah.
They ran the ball right down our throats, but the defense came out, played stout this week. They didn't give up 100 yards rushing, and basically what Joe Flacco has proven that he's actually the worst quarterback in the division, if that could be said, because well, there's only 3 quarterbacks in our division because there hasn't been a quarterback in Cleveland since they came back from
Good point.
the abyss. I mean, they're at 28 and counting. This is over the last 17 or 18 years.
I'm glad you mentioned Cleveland because I've said, and I've been taking some heat on some other shows, and I said that Hugh Jackson should have stayed in Cincinnati. And as of last night, maybe John Gruden should have stayed, and Jay Gruden should have stayed there too. But I look at, Cleveland Browns have a lot of talent on their team. And I don't think they found their quarterback yet. I think Hugh Jackson's going to get fired for the simple reason, number one, he can't lead silent prayer, but number 2, Cleveland has almost 2 or 3 draft picks in every round next year. And that's going to be favorable to a veteran coach. They're going to like that situation in Cleveland. And also, there's projecting 6 quarterbacks to get drafted in the first round. So a coach can come in, draft his franchise quarterback, and have all those draft picks, and they have a number of talent already on the team. So Cleveland could get turned around.
My only flaw with that, and I think it's been a problem that's been consistent with Cleveland since they came back from nowhere, is that it's the constant turnover and a constant change in philosophies and the constant change in drafting strategies. And the thing that the franchises that are successful in the NFL have stability in the front office, and they have stability in the coaching staff. And without that, I don't really see, because they've had high draft picks for the last 15 years. And I mean, they've had more than one in the first round multiple times, and none of those have panned out. None of those have panned out. So, I think Hugh Jackson is a good football coach. I think he's in over his head. I think he is over his head.
Yeah.
Being that you say that there could potentially be 6 first-round draftable quarterbacks next year, then I think the Steelers ought to think about the future because I think somebody else is thinking too much about what he's going to do when he retires than he is about performance on the field.
Whoa.
And I just don't know who that might be, but I will say that,
He has been overthrowing people, which is consistent with what he does. His record on the road speaks for itself how bad it is.
well,
That when he's doing it at home, it makes even more problems. And having Antonio Brown have a little temper tantrum, sure he was wide open, but Ben was looking the other way for Le'Veon Bell, and he couldn't figure that Brown would break free.
You know,
To
it's
nobody.
just, you know, what was it Bill Belichick says? If somebody starts talking about retirement, their mind is already there.
Yeah.
You know?
Chuck Noll used to say that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's done this a few times. So-
You know, I think his act,
It's like a little-
his act is wearing thin on
It's
me.
like a little boy crying wolf, right? Little kid cries wolf. You stop listening after 3 or 4 times. Go
I
ahead,
stopped
Johnny.
listening long before that.
Well,
but-
that's my point, though. You sort of turn that off. Go ahead, Johnny. Go play outside with that wolf. See you
But
later.
you know, I do think the Steelers do have a schedule that is favorable, and that
Amen.
they could, you know. But here's the thing, you know, you break the season up into 4 quarters, okay?
You sound like Power now.
you went. Well, you know, I mean, you know, the guy was successful, so you know, you roll
Yes,
with
he
it.
was.
But you know, you go 3-1 in the first, and the Steelers are nowhere near playing their best football. Okay,
And that's a
and
good
the time
thing.
of the year that you want to play your best football is December going into January.
Yeah.
So you know, if the team can make it through these times while they're still tripping over their own feet, you know, hopefully they will get.
Oh,
their
did
act
Juju look
together.
pretty good?
Yeah.
Juju
20 years
Smith-Schuster.
old.
He's
Youngest player in the NFL.
and he is not afraid to knock somebody down. He
No, he
will
blocks
go out
good.
there and he will block.
does.
And
But
What
I
they-
took a lot of heat. I tell you what, I took a lot of heat on
Hold it,
Facebook.
Smoking Jim. You normally do.
I took a lot of heat, Chip, on Facebook when I said and I posted a video that I love to see players get knocked out
I was
cold.
going to mention this.
And I took a lot of heat. I
You're insensitive.
I can't apologize for my love, but if I hurt somebody's feelings out there,
Hold
long-
it.
long
You
as
hurt
somebody-
my feelings
long
putting
as
that
somebody's
out.
not dead, I always wait and make sure they're not dead or paralyzed. But other than that, I
You
love to
hurt
see,
my
I
feelings
love to
because
see
this is the
somebody get knocked
NFL
out cold.
today. You can't lay a guy out like
Oh,
that,
I
head
loved
to
it.
head.
Oh, to sit there and watch somebody gets taken out on stretchers brings back some fond memories how the NFL used to be.
This
Well,
is
you know,
not
Jim,
how
and
it
you're
is.
right. And the NFL of
They're
my,
only a piece of meat to me.
no, the NFL of my youth was a different NFL than I watch today.
Yeah.
And the game has changed. And
In
you
10
know,
years.
I mean, you know, and so the gentleman that leveled the with Javon Adams.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae
yeah.
Adams, he's got a 2-game suspension.
That ain't bad. That's worth that.
No, you know what? If it's coming out of your paycheck,
Yeah,
it would
that's
be,
worth
be a
it.
different story.
Well, the one thing you know you ain't got to worry about him going over the middle again against you. Makes your job easier.
He's not
and
even
they will
playing.
see
now.
they will see one another later in the year.
Yeah, and they're talking about Adams may be playing this week. You know, he went through the concussion protocol. This guy won't even cross the street anymore. He'll never go over the middle
Smoking
another day
Jim.
in his life.
Yes, he will.
Well, I know he won't fight for
But
extra yardage.
that was. I'll tell you what. I saw the replays of that and I heard it in real time.
Did you love it?
And I'm telling you what,
No. It's offensive.
He got crushed.
Yes,
He got
did.
crushed. And he knocked his
Smoking
mouthpiece
Jim, you're
off
living
his
in the
chin
past.
I watch it every day, man. I got that on tape, man.
You're living in
YouTube-
the past.
YouTube took down a lot of that hit.
They have to.
They have to, but there's still a couple of them that, man, I was able to get to, man. I just love it, man.
So what do you think? Okay, so are you gonna? Let me guess. You're gonna bet against the Steelers this week when they play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I won't bet, but if I was betting, I would bet the Steelers. But
Third home.
But I'm saving all my money for Kansas City in 2 weeks.
Are you?
They're gonna put it on the black and gold. Yeah.
I don't know. You know,
Kansas City will be ready to lose.
They didn't. They didn't. They had 2 chances last year and came up short.
This is different, and I totally missed the kid from Toledo, the running back for Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
He's unbelievable. He wasn't like that at Toledo. I blew the evaluation. Like I said, I'm not 100%. I'm usually 97,
what about the
98%.
Vikings? Dalvin Cook. He's out for the season.
That's why you
torn
got to take the
ACL.
medal. I'm going to write a letter to
Take the what?
Barkley. I mean, you got to take the money. I'm going to write a letter to Barkley at Penn State.
You mean after he wins the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah, I hope he wins it. He deserves it.
He's incredible.
beast.
But
he's an incredible.
He got to
athlete.
come out because Delvin Cook didn't
Oh.
even get hit.
Isn't this his last year, Bart?
No, he got one. He got 2 more years.
Gee.
A year after this. He's a
Generally,
junior.
when an athlete goes down on a non-contact injury like that, it's usually severe.
But I tell you what, I love that. I love that player for Detroit. He seen him grab his knee and he still knocked him in the next week. You got to love it, man. Ain't no holding up.
Smoking Jim, you live in the past.
Made him fumble and everything else.
That's
man.
ridiculous.
He dropped the ball long before he got hit. As soon as his knee went pop. that
No, he
dropped the
held
ball.
on it till he got hit. The guy hit right on the ball.
Smoking Jim's been watching that nonstop.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Hey, that era is over, Smoking Jim.
Yeah, but just think if Delvin
Look
Cook,
what you're suffering.
Delvin Cook could have had that in. He had one more year at Florida State, but he decided to come out, and he got the money because he would have been, you know,
Playing at school.
remember the kids for
No.
yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on from this, I do want to mention that
Go ahead. We got a few minutes left.
tomorrow night's opening night for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And,
Yes.
Oh, by the way, we are
Congratulations.
raising another championship banner to the rafters tomorrow night. They'll be raising the banner at 7:45.
I heard the ring's even bigger this
Oh,
year.
there's a few bling.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got a few diamonds on it.
Wow,
Sure.
that's
You know,
nice.
but,
I'm proud of them.
As well it
Hey,
should.
they
And
say-
three-peat this year.
That's right. Alan and I
Three-peat.
are calling it three-peat this
Three-peat,
year.
baby.
They'll get to 7 before the Steelers, right?
I doubt it.
I don't know about that.
Well, they'll tell them this year if they get right. It'll be 6 and 6.
You know what? It's a long.
It's rare to
season.
get a
It's-
three-peat,
it-
but-
It's a grind, and
But I believe they can do it.
You got to be there, but as long as the Penguins stay
Three-peat.
healthy this year, I think they're going to be fine. But wanted to make note tomorrow night down at the paint can.
Yeah.
The Penguins will be
PPG
kicking off
Paint.
the season against the St. Louis Blues. And by the way, the Penguins made a trade today. Somebody who was once considered to be
Untouchable.
Derek Pouliot. Has now been traded to the Vancouver Canucks for a big, nasty defenseman that's 6'5",
Yeah.
and likes to get a little bit rough every now
Sure,
and then. And
sure.
I can't
And a
remember what his
fourth-round
name is,
pick.
but they signed him to a two-way contract. And do you know what a two-way contract is, Jim? He gets paid one rate if he plays in the minors, and he gets paid another salary when he makes it to the big team.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, that's what it's called.
That's
two-way, but
negotiated.
That is something that they do that is unique to the NHL.
I thought 2 ways meant something else, but is Fleury and his teammates all right? I've been praying for them after what happened in Vegas.
Well, and on a more serious note, everybody say a prayer for anybody that has anything to do with any of the victims of 527 people injured, 59 people killed. It's just unbelievable that
Gonna be
something
more.
like that can happen in this day and age.
I used to go to Mandalay Bay.
Did you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Went there 4 times.
somehow,
Beautiful
some way,
place.
we need to
Yeah.
find a way to make this kind of stuff stop.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
still
cause
can't
for it.
believe a 64-year-old man brought all these
millionaire,
weapons in.
multi-millionaire.
I
How
have
did
no,
this happen?
how does this happen? And it's, it makes you wonder, like what, there's too much hatred, too much division in this country. We need to come together and be united.
Why
as
can't we
one.
all get along is what I ask.
You need to be united, and this bickering and blaming everything on everybody else. We just need to find a way to fix our problems.
Definitely. And we'll see you on Happy Columbus Day on Monday. Thanks for watching this show. We appreciate it. Sorry we got off the subject a little, but it's a rare day when Smoking Jim, who went to grade school, missed out on Columbus Day and didn't know his heritage was Italian. Everybody I know that knows Columbus Day knows he was Italian. I mean, that's how prominent it is. But Smoking Jim never ceases to amaze me.
When I thought he was talking about Columbus, here I thought he was talking about the Blue Jackets.
I know. You just got to clarify these things with him. He somehow believes in homeschooling, and he's been concussed many times. And I got to end this show with Stay Joey Strong.